The other point that I got there is I'm studying panics. You see this particular doctor, this is how the doctors panic, and they wore this dress or whatever. It's in the plague. This is typical of the doctors. They fled the place. There were very few of them. They never tried to touch. They stayed away from patients, and they gave them so-called prescriptions from the top of the house. They would not go near the patients. And so the medical panic was there from the very beginning, and it underpins all panics. The point I've realized after studying the literature is that all that we do in economics largely is in the rational space of the human brain. In politics, we start muddling through our irrational part of the human brain. And in the case of pandemics, we start facing death, and doctors face death it approaches very fast. So I'm calling this a death singularity, and I'm calling it a blue shift, which means that death is approaching to doctors at the coalface in a very rapid manner, which leads them to panic. So panic has to be studied if we are going to understand the issue of pandemics. And then we have the issue of how do doctors, what happens to doctors? And I've explained this. They also, by the way, are aware, which I haven't mentioned, I'll mention briefly, is that a vast number of people are the non-infectious patients, the cancer patients. They catch infectious disease inside hospitals and die. There are about 100,000 who die every year. Doctors know, that is in USA. Doctors know this. Doctors are aware that the system is simply incapable of dealing with infectious disease of a large magnitude. So they panic and they flee. They take, and I've got some examples from the COVID. I've taken some examples. You can go through them. There were 6,000 doctors in Australia who signed a letter to the PM asking for lockdowns and so on. Now, we also see that it doesn't matter if the lead doctor is good, because that's not a good strategy, because I didn't know, and we find that Tegnell actually panicked in 2009 with the swine flu. And Anthony Fauci did not panic in Ebola, but then they flipped. They all, so it's not a good strategy to rely upon the lead doctor not panicking. The other thing I sort of believe is that we can't fix the public panic at all. It's too big and amorphous. What we can do is to try to fix the medical panic and try to reduce it significantly.